Recyard, Women's Prison Podcast, where we are live on the Recyard every Wednesday night. Welcome in, everyone. It is Wednesday night, and we are on the Recyard Women's Prison Podcast. I'm Marci Marie.
I'm Toonchi. The Toonch. You see, look the Toonch.
The Toonch. Oh, I see that. The Toonchinator. Toonchalicious.
Oh, boy. You're inviting a lot of strangers in right now with
What?
that.
Where did the Toonch come from? Some people think it has to do with an illegal substance. People ask me that. And
Really?
I'm always, yes.
Well, we both know I'm not very savvy to things, but I do know this, that Lil Wayne's nickname is Toonchi. And so that nickname was given to me by Diane. She started calling me Toonchi, and it caught on, and that was my nickname when I did time at Mountain View.
Diane, who is our fierce inside member specialist communication queen for Lioness Justice Impacted Women's Alliance, and you did time with her, and she gave you the nickname.
Yeah.
I love it. It has nothing to do with illegal substances. So
it doesn't. It's just a play on my name. That's it.
Because your last name is Toon.
That's correct.
It makes sense. It's all coming together now.
Yes, all the pieces are fitting together.
Right. Well, we're so happy to have everybody. Department of Corruptions, we see you. Carrie, we see you in the chat. I'm sorry that we missed last week, and we'll get to why, and we'll talk a little bit about that in just a moment. Department of Corruption stories is always coming in hot, reminding me to remind you to make sure that you're liking the live, thumbs up, hearts, all that good stuff. If you're on your cell phone, just tap your screen a million times, comment, share the live. If you're listening wherever you hear your favorite podcasters, please leave us a review, and that just helps us reach a larger audience. And we love that and appreciate that so much. Tonight, we're just hanging out.
Yeah, it's nice to just, be in community and hang out and just talk. I just love time to be able to relax and have a good time and laugh. So much seriousness all the time.
There has been a lot of seriousness going on, and so we have to take care of ourselves and step away from the craziness that is happening inside of Texas women's prisons. And not that we're forgetting about our ladies inside, because certainly our folks inside are deep in our hearts and our thoughts, but we have to take care of our own mental health. So we decided we needed a break. We've had a busy couple weeks.
Yeah, I can't wait to update.
Let's do a weekly recap.
Y'all, son.
Cut you
Marci Marie Simmons looks for moments and opportunities to cut me off, to just cut me clean in the middle of a sentence. But no, it's all right. I talk a lot, talk too much.
You knew that was coming.
I knew it was. I set myself up.
Well, we have had a busy week. So you go first, because you were in Washington, D.C. for some other stuff.
Yeah, before
that way.
Yeah, before you and Britt made it, I was there for Just Leadership, which is this incredible organization that empowers system-impacted people. I'm in their current cohort. It's leadership development and training, and so spent the weekend doing that, and then we attended the Free Her rally, and I'll let you talk more about that. I hope that everybody saw the episode that Marci worked really hard in a short amount of time to put those clips together to get it uploaded to stream last week. So
we were actually in the airport, like in line at TSA, and it was uploading on my phone ever so slowly. And anytime I would get a phone call or something weird, it would start over. And I was like, had to turn all my calls off. And it was like at 95%. And we were down to two people in front of us. And I told Brittany, we're going to let people cut. And she's like, no, the hell we're not. She had no understanding. She was like, no, we've been waiting in this line for like 45 minutes. And when it's our turn, we're going. And y'all, I don't know how it happened, but I swear the moment I stepped up, it loaded. It was done. Well, and then I could get off the screen, but it still did processing. Anyways, it was such a good time. We were at this. It was the Free Her Rally. Please tell me the organization's name, Toon, because I'm going to get it
it's
wrong.
it's a long one, and it's okay, but it's with, we call it the council, the National Council of Incarcerated Girls and Women.
And they are 10 years old. And that's one of the reasons they had this big march. And the march was a demand for clemency. Stop incarcerating women. I mean, it's getting out of control. Our our incarcerated population has increased by like 400% in the past 25 years, and it's just too much. So that, but also for some of these women and gender expansive folks that got charged like in the 80s and 90s when it was the war on drugs, and they're doing these crazy sentences, these life sentences for drug charges. We want clemency. It's time to get them. And look at Toonch coming in hot with their website.
And it's the National Council of Incarcerated and Formerly Incarcerated Girls and Women. It's a long title, but again, we just, amongst us, we always just say the council.
So that rally had hundreds and hundreds of people there. I haven't gone back to look at the total, but it was, when we looked behind us for as far as we could see, it was people. We couldn't see the end on a flat, straight street, and we were kind of closer to the front, so we could see where it begun. But it was just, the street was full. The energy was live, y'all. It was powerful. It was really impactful. And it was Brittany and I's first time to be in anything like that. I mean, we have been in some rallies where we've had 30 people together, but nothing like this. Marching towards the White House at one point. The White House was in the horizon in front of us, and it was really great. And I was zipping in and out trying to talk to some folks so you guys could be a part of it and see what was going on. And so I think that we had some really incredible people talk to us, and I don't know how the universe directed me to the right folks, and our friend Lauren Johnson. Shout out. Thank you. Thank you for that. But we talked to some incredibly active advocates who have done big time. I mean, and we talked to Piper Kerman. What? Did y'all see that? Orange is the New Black? That was really incredible. And I didn't tell her how I read her book and got mad at it. I didn't.
Piper, if you're watching, it's for another discussion. We're so
Yes,
sorry.
it is for another discussion. And it's mostly just because, yes, she was facing a lot of disparities. It's just not it's not a lot compared to Texas prisons, right? So I'm sitting in Texas prisons, and there we are. Carl Webb says the National Council for Incarcerated and Formerly Incarcerated Women and Girls is committed to abolishing incarceration of women and girls. Thank you, Carl. Yes, and Carl's watching from LinkedIn. My friend Laura Garza is here, and her husband is serving 3 life sentences. for aggravated robbery. That's, yes, you're right. I'm so sorry. And that is so sad, Laura. You're absolutely right. And I did get your messages, and I appreciate you very much. So, and I appreciate your support, calling your people over to our show. Uh, Goodness gracious. Stop when, okay, let's talk about it, John. That does not make sense. By saying stop women from being incarcerated sounds like you're putting the horse behind the cart. I think installing programs to better help women deal with society and use its support system would be better. Well, that's the start of it, right? That's that you're right. We are for pumping resources. And Toonch, you chime in because you just are so eloquent when you explain it. But I'll just explain it in my way, is just that yes, we want to stop pumping money into the prison industrial complex and start putting them into our communities. For what? Yes, so women and everybody has the resources they need to deal with society, so that's what's going to lower crime. Prisons have proven not to lower crime. Say it, Toonch. What you got to say?
Well, I appreciate John's comment, but let's put it back up there for a second.
I didn't mean to cut off.
It's
Sorry.
okay. And of course, we want, until they're free, we want them to have the support and programming and air conditioning and humane conditions, right? But the goal is to not use carceral settings to deal with the things that happen in our society. But I want to point out something. And you say, I think installing programs to better help women deal with society, right? So I just want to flag that as it is not a woman's responsibility. And it shouldn't be her duty and responsibility to just learn how to deal with society's bullshit, right? Right? Because that's part of the problem. So it is actually society's responsibility to know how to treat women with dignity and respect, and to offer them the services and support that they need for their families and for them, right? And perhaps that's not the way you meant it, but it does kind of speak to this idea that it is somehow solely the woman or the incarcerated person's responsibility to just learn how to deal with the way things are, and it's not. It's everybody's collective responsibility to create the change that we want to see. And when we talk about prison abolition work, and it was really impactful. A friend of ours, Jorge, who is a huge, well respected prison abolitionist in Texas. He says, it's one thing to talk about, ending prisons, but never neglecting, the personal accountability at the same time. So then, what do we do? What do we do in terms of society's accountability, but our own? And I think that's what we mean when we talk about envisioning a world that we don't rely on carceral systems to administer justice, right? And how do we do that from a personal accountability, and how does society do that? But thank you for your comment.
And thank you, Carrie, for loving the video that I did work so hard on. While Toonch was eating her food in front of me, I was working on that video. So I appreciate that. Carl's
Man.
throwing up the website for the National Council again. Thank you for that, Carl. Yeah, so we had that. And then we flew back from Washington, D.C., and all of that energy and emotion to then spend 11 and a half hours at the Texas.
Well, wait a minute, Marci.
Oh, wait, did I miss something?
You're skipping something. So I got up and immediately went just to hang out and support Mandy. We went to the Women's Storybook Project luncheon, and then we worked at the TAVP office. Then all of us went down to Helen's reentry class. So it was a long day the next day, and then immediately you stayed the night here. And Lori, if you're watching, Marcy says this is a comfortable, jazzy couch, and that you're just a mean little woman. And so we got up immediately and spent, yeah, a long time at the board meeting, at the Texas Board of Criminal Justice, to give public comments.
Yeah, and that went well. Our comments were actually pretty well received. One of the members wanted more information, and I think some steps are even being taken as far as maybe they're looking into some situations that are happening on the Lane Murray unit. So we're hopeful to see some positive changes there. So Toonch, we're talking about not a carceral setting. What kind of setting would you suggest, or what is your recommendation for violent female offenders? And let me just clarify, our organization advocates for women, girls, gender expansive individuals, right? But we don't think that men need incarceration. Like with,
Right.
so when we're talking about no more prisons, we mean for everyone. Now this march was about females, but what do you for violent offenders? If someone commits a violent crime, what do you think should happen?
Yes, and I will, Audrey. Thanks. It's a great question. We do. I do want to first say that we are practicing person centered language, right? I remember when TDCJ used to call us offender, and the way that would enrage me and make me feel dirty and disgusting and less human. So words matter. And so, what recommendation for women who have committed an offense that is violent? Um, I myself I happen to be one of those women, not just once but twice. So first of all, I can tell you what didn't work was put me in a system that bred violence. Incarceration is about survival. You've heard me say that. You've heard Marcy say that. You've heard the women of our organization say that. It is about survival. And survival often means, this is a hotbed of violence all the time, psychologically, physically. So it certainly didn't help cure any of that was already living inside of me from my life experiences. What do you do when people are at a place of crisis that they might harm themselves or other people, right? I think that we can envision as a society, as creative, empathetic, wonderful human beings, that we can create a new vision of justice that involves safe settings where people are safe and secure, and that they are supported in a way that they don't have access to hurt other people and themselves, right? Like, so what does that look like? How can we build something out that supports that? And that doesn't always set well with people in Texas, right? Our culture here is a culture of violence that demands retribution and punishment and shame, and none of that shit worked for me. It made me worse, right? So justice can be accomplished without shame and punishment. Again, I guess because I spent today with Jorge, he's on his mind because he's so wise. And he said, accountability, the individual has to be accountable. And it is what the person you've harmed, it's what do they need? He said, but I remember distinctly on a panel when he said, but when that includes punishment and shame, it's off the table. Those things are not, no, right? So what are the ways that we can address harm that holds everybody accountable with their humanity? Surely we can come up with something.
Good job, Toonch. Good explanation. Thank you, Audra Lee. Great question, and it's one we get often, right? Rayanne, I'm going to get to you, but I see Sean Wright's hopped in from LinkedIn, and so shout out to the Right Cause Urban Youth Conservation in Dallas, 2214. Shout out. They do work right here in my area. So nice to see you, Sean. Thanks for hopping on. Rayanne says, we need helplines to help people navigate life, not just a helpline for suicide prevention. I've tried to call for help before, but nothing out there for anything but suicide prevention. And so you're thinking that that's one way that we can offer resources in our communities is a phone call away, maybe peer support type. And yeah, I'm down for that. I can see that. And there are areas that maybe it's not a phone call, but there are like peer support groups virtually and in person in lots of places, and that's getting to be a lot more popular. And then I wanted to say, our good friend Eric, we have a Linus member on the inside that possibly got hurt at work.
Eric, I
Yeah.
need you to message me. I
Eric.
need you to, yeah, message me either on Messenger or on TikTok, because I want to talk to you about. There's a reporter looking for stories, so maybe there's a way, if Stephanie feels comfortable or if you feel comfortable.
Yeah, prison working conditions,
Mhm.
there's not a workers' comp, there's not a what is it OSHA? We learned there were times during my incarceration where trainers would come in or educators and they would offer OSHA training. And so we would go, like, I went to that training one time and I'm like, we don't do any of this. Like,
They're
you
like, oh yeah, OSHA doesn't apply here to incarcerated workers. It's like,
right.
what?
You're right. We're like, and they're like, don't do this, don't do this. I'm like, I did all 5 of those things yesterday at work. Like, it was so crazy. John, thank you for the conversation. Excellent conversation. John says, my angle is of being able to take care of themselves first. So, us as people take care of ourselves first. I have met men who have never been taught how to do anything and had to learn these things while inside prison. Society as a whole has slacked in the past 20 years and let the state control the households and how they are run. Teaching discipline has been totally removed from the households, not just the right and wrong discipline, but the discipline to follow through with things. It is easier to just give up than try. So I'm seeing some of what you're saying for sure. In that I think I don't know, Toonch, what do you think?
I mean, I too have met people on the inside that don't know how to do basic things, including myself. Ask Marcy how much food is in these cabinets, and I'm, gosh, 45. And the reason why is because as a child, I was trapped in those systems. So I didn't have my family or my support system to teach me how to live.
But I have met women that didn't know proper hygiene. They didn't know how to address an envelope, which maybe might be more common now, but even, when I went in 14 years ago, people were still writing mail and they were still mailing in their bills.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I was with people that didn't know, so yes, for sure. But the state didn't teach us those things on the inside. We helped each other. And I'm wondering what your experience was with the men. Like when you came across those men, were you able to mentor? Did you guys have a mentorship like that? We had play families. So your play mama would be taking care of you and she would be showing you these things. And when we had women coming in, I was kind of I wasn't like the mom, everybody's mom, but I was kind of that motherly figure that when someone needed talking to, like, hey, this lady's she hadn't brushed her teeth in forever, and she's my roommate, and I'm gonna jump on her. Like, that's because in prison, that's the solution, right? They would come to me because I would be able to say, hey, this is how we do things. I don't know if but this is what, and oh, you need a tube of toothpaste. Okay, I got you, and that's kind of how we would handle things. So I'm wondering how it was in the men. Um, Department of Corruption Stories did his time in Oregon, and he is a great advocate in Oregon and everywhere, actually, supporting all prison reform advocacy. Oregon went from inmate to adult in custody.
Yeah,
Oh,
so currently people in TDCJ are now called inmates again. They were called that in the past, then they switched to offender, and then they switched back to inmate. And it's a small win, but I think for me, after years of being called offender, and Marcy, you remember the way they used to say it, offender. It made my soul cringe. It would make me so instantly angry and rebellious and defensive. Um, yeah, like maybe one day TDCJ won't have anybody in their system to be able to call anything. But I do know with the Wyndham School District, which is their school district inside the prisons, they do now refer to them as students, period.
and they are students.
Mhm.
That's what they are in there. So what state was it? It was some small state. Remember when we were at the higher education in prison conference
Mhm. Mhm.
and that warden was there and he was talking about the progressive things that they were doing in their state?
Mhm.
Well, what do you remember what state that was?
I don't remember what state because it sounded like another planet.
Maine. It was Maine.
Mhm.
It was Maine. So I don't even remember what they don't use any of that. Oh, they
Mhm.
use resident.
Yeah,
They
resident.
use resident. So, yeah, I don't know. Audra Lee, she would eat that lasagna.
I really
She
would.
Yeah,
I have
she
look. Hey, I'm going to make a shameless plug right here.
oh my
If
goodness.
y'all think or know of any single 45-year-old woman who identifies as a lesbian that you think would be a good match for me, send her my way. Send her my videos. I have a clean home. I have a little kitty. She cannot be allergic to cats, and unfortunately, she can't have any other pets because Taylor. I don't care how good looking she is or intelligent. I can't do anything to disrupt Taylor's life. But that was a plug, Marcy.
Taylor is an only child, and it's
She
gonna have
is.
to stay that way.
That's right.
So I am curious to what kind of your DMs are gonna look like after this plug.
Now, let me tell y'all this: transitioning away from more serious things, and I think I've talked about we've talked about pen pals before, okay? But when I was on a pen pal site that my friend put me on there, Marcy, when I got locked up the second time, and I made my little thing, right, like
Profile.
my little
And
profile.
because you have to do a picture and then you
Hmm.
have to write your bio, and that's a big deal in there. But I want you to talk about that. But you guys, I just dropped the link in the chat. If you want to drop in, you can come on the show tonight. The lines are open. You can drop in if you'd like, and we'd love to have you for a few minutes. So I'm you guys
So
check
if
your
you are a single lady that's 45 and
it's
you're
not
interested, we could
true.
do a little interview right here. Me and Marcy we'll see if you're a good fit. But so I did my profile, and y'all, it's storming real bad. So if y'all lose me, it'll be like the Rosie O'Donnell episode. I hope that I come back on here not in my bra and panties. But look, so I made my profile, and I said very clearly, I love cats, Dr. Pepper, and pop music. I don't want any men writing me, only lesbians. And it was cute. It was funny, right? So I had quite a few ladies that wrote me. I unhinged. Marcy, most of the ladies were just absolutely unhinged. Now, I did get two consistent pen pals. One who was really lovely, sent me books for the book club, and then the other pen pal, we already know where all that went. um, so I'm not opposed to being on some type of dating something out here,
Well,
but
what about the app? Why aren't you on an app? like the swipe left app.
Hey, did y'all know this? I think, Marci, you know, because Carrie wrote an article about it. I miss Carrie. If she's watching, I miss you.
Carrie Blakinger.
I'm going to go this summer to visit in LA. I am. Some missed opportunities there. So here's the deal. What she did with her article, dating apps have in their agreements that you can't be a felon. Did you know that? If somebody reports you, they'll kick you off there.
What?
Yep. And so then
All
it's like,
of it?
well, most of is I'll go back and read the article. I'll find it, but
We
like
need to start
Tinder
our own dating app. We need to create our own. Find a felon.
That's actually a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
You have to have certain requirements.
Right. You have to not be in active criminal life. That has to be your past life. Right?
Like, yeah. I don't know. That's a pretty good freaking idea. And so I didn't, too, it was like, I don't want to wade through all the catfishing with men. I don't, because I have tried that. I tried the app Her, and I got some person that was pretending to be a woman in the military, and I'm like, get out of here. Like,
how did you find out it was a man?
Well, I'm not sure if that one was a man, but it was a lot of bullshit. Like, okay, you don't ever want to meet, and you're being weird, and all this. Girl, I already lived all that double life stuff with the woman I was seeing. I can spot it now. But no, sometimes they'll just reveal themselves as a man, like, boop, there it is. And then it's a bunch of like, whoa, I didn't want all that. Who's here?
Jennifer Mack. Our friend Jennifer Mack.
Here we go.
Let's get her on.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Sorry about my, it has been a week in the mental health world. So sorry about my due and my appearance, but addiction counseling has been rampant this week. And so I'm a mess, but I wanted to just hop on and be like, congratulations. You guys did awesome in Washington. You guys are so great. I think just having the advocacy that you guys are doing is so impactful and so powerful. I spent several years at Lane Murray, and so just what you guys are doing is amazing, bringing awareness. Whenever I was there, a married staff couple was there, and I was in a extremely inappropriate and illegal relationship with a male officer who also had a female officer as his wife. And I was young, and she worked there. Their last name started with an N. I will not call them completely out. I don't know if they still work there or not. But their last name started with an N, and there was a Wood. It was in their name.
I know who you're talking. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, anyways, and they took him off the unit when it found out we were reported, and when it was found out about, they took him off the unit, right? They removed him from that unit. I didn't know what happened. They had segged me up for a while to do the investigation and then released me back. And his wife did everything she could to try to thwart my parole and get my answer taken away. However, then she decided it was better if I just went. They're like, get her out of here. And so the night that they packed me up to be released for parole, he's the one that packed me up and had a hotel room there in Gatesville and was like, here's the number. I was like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. So,
oh my gosh.
Anyways, we didn't have anything like what you guys are doing. We didn't have any like real advocacy on the outside and that connection. And I think that's amazing. It's huge. Marci, I just want to say I'm in school at Texas State now. I did 5 years to get a degree that I just worked on a little bit at a time. The state of Texas licensed me to be a chemical dependency counselor. And I want to say, don't stop with that first door closed. Like, continue pursuing your dream to go back to school and to get an education, because there's so many plans, like you have so much, um and it's doable. You're just going to have to find the right time and the right school. So don't stop. Don't let that door closing be anything that stops you from media communications or anything that you want to do. Because had you told me 10 years ago that the state of Texas was going to give me a license to help people get their life together and recover from addiction or become a social worker, I would have never 10 years ago believed that that's what I would be doing today, 10 years later.
Jennifer, thank you so much. I appreciate that encouragement. We certainly appreciate the encouragement, and we noticed how you sandwiched that juicy story.
And with some inspiration.
Yes, you must be fabulous at your job with supporting people in the recovery community, because you handled that so well. Like it was,
Yeah.
you came in hot with the, y'all are doing great, good job. And oh, by the way,
here's this hot tea.
Yeah, here's some typhoon tea. I couldn't get on without asking, and I know that Marci, being at Lane Murray, would know the married couple that I'm talking about because they're infamous. I don't think I was one of the first. I mean, I'm sure I wasn't one of the first relationships that he had ever been in, or that she actually was the supervisor of the cleaning crew at night. The wife was. And so her girls that were on her crew would come in different dorms and clean and do stuff on the unit. And so I know, like, the host squad bosses, Boss Schrader would be raiding my cell the next day after they came in and cleaned, and they would find stuff. And I'm like, I don't know where it came from. I don't know what you're talking about. And she was just like, I guess finally, anyways, they're a mess.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's a sticky situation, because that's exactly how that stuff happens.
Nasty.
Yeah.
You just nasty.
Yeah.
Marci, did you say that's a sticky situation?
Yeah. Was it?
Golly.
Gosh. You know those
Dirty
janitor
dog.
closets out in that bubble don't work. The cameras out in that bubble don't work very well. So you know them janitor closets are always up for grabs.
It went down in the janitor closets for
Yeah.
lots of officers.
Yeah, it's
Lots
a
of
mess.
officers. Yeah.
And Toonch, I'm in Austin. Like, we will make you food, Toonch. We cannot have you going hungry
Hey.
until we find the right one.
Baby, so you need to be a part of our local Central Texas group.
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will you send us? Do we have your email?
I don't. I'll message it to Marci. I don't
Okay,
know. It is storming bad here.
Real bad.
We
Yeah.
might get lost. Yeah, it's storming real bad. But I'll message it to Marci so that you have it, so you have my contact information, and we can kind of get on some stuff. Because I would love to be involved. I think I just admire so much the advocacy, and I remember reading the Echo and stories in the Echo.
Now, Jennifer, first let me say, we want to make sure to connect you to Mandy and Chanel, because they are our superpowers here in the Austin area. But let's touch base about that Echo. Is that Marci never read it. She wrapped her food in it. She cleaned with it. And all those years, she never had any idea.
Toon got me through.
I did not know that Jennifer Toon wrote for the Echo. I didn't recognize her name from the Echo. When I just saw this chick on TikTok making a few videos that she was hanging out with Carrie Blakinger, and I was like, oh, okay, this is a cool cat that did some time in Texas. And then people are like, oh, Jennifer Toon, the Echo. And I'm like, what?
That's not just it.
Yeah.
It's obvious. Golly, and I know that I haven't found a woman yet, because I'm deeply intimidating and good looking, and it's hard for women to approach me.
Right there. For those of you who don't know what the Echo is the newspaper inside of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. Jennifer Toon had written for the Echo a good portion of her incarceration. She had her own column, but y'all, that stuff was so, that newspaper was so censored, or I mean, it was just niceties
Yeah.
and
Now, I want to tell y'all this though, because again, I mean, Jorge is just deep in my heart tonight. So the Echo, the history of the Echo was that it was actually very much a newspaper, and he was writing really, him and the team at the Echo back in the early 90s, 80s, they were writing powerful news articles. After the big escape, Jorge wrote a pretty impactful, honest article, and oh my, you can imagine, like TDCJ, like it was this huge deal. They were going to
Yeah.
get rid of the Echo, and then so Wyndham School District picked it up and said, "Well, we'll save it," and it turned in kind of to this feel good Wyndham
so it did
thing.
have good recipes. I always looked at the recipes, and I did the Sudoku.
But you didn't see it. You didn't see.
This is how the Echo would come once a month. The officer would come throw a pile on the table. I would go get mine. I would quickly thumb through the pictures to see if I knew anybody that I recognized in the pictures. And then I would go to the recipes, and then I would tear the Sudoku. And then the paper went for, I would put the paper in my boots, like for Host Squad, after we were in the pig
God
farm, to take the
bless.
smell out, or I would wrap tamales in it. Um,
And Jennifer, I sat on my floor on Sunday mornings with a cup of coffee for 3 hours, handwriting those articles.
and
Yeah.
people enjoyed it. People enjoyed it too.
Just not me. Just not
Yeah.
Marcy.
Jennifer Mack, thank you for stopping in. We appreciate you so much. And we're going to connect you with the Austin folks, but you might need to come back on the show so we can get the full scoop
Yeah, we might
on
have
that.
to. We might need some tea. I have a lot of stories. I did several years on that same, and Plain State. I was at Gatesville. I was in Plain State and in Gatesville. So
Okay. Well,
the
thanks
thing.
for your
Bye,
support on
guys.
the
Y'all have a
show,
good
and
night.
we'll see you soon. Bye,
Bye.
Jennifer. And we have Lainey in the house, and Lainey was my bunkie, my window bunkie. Do you remember that term? Window bunkie? Because she lived in the row across from me, and our door openings saw into each other's cubicle. So for a good amount of time. Lainey, welcome to the show.
Hey y'all, what's going on? I
Hey,
just
we're just
saw
hanging out.
so Douglas he pulled up Facebook to post the storm going on outside the window right now, and y'all's feed showed up, and I was like, oh, let me hop on and say hi real quick. How y'all doing?
We're good. Thanks for hopping on. You're muted, Toonch.
Can't
Yeah.
hear you.
I got real excited because, first and foremost, Lainey, what did you think of the new album?
Oh, I am in love. Oh my God, my favorite song is "My Boyfriend Only Breaks His Favorite Things," his favorite toys. I love that song. As soon as it came out, I put it on repeat in the car. Everyone because I drive Uber still, so everyone in my Uber car, it was just basically I told them when they came in, Taylor released a new album today, so you're just gonna have to suck it up or put on some AirPods because that's what's on the menu today.
That's right. That's every time anybody gets into my car. So I'll just leave them on the side of the road. I really
Yeah, I
will.
think that's a good option. There's some people that I have to leave on the side of the road, and it's not behind Taylor, but those are other stories. Hey, Marcy, I see you've been in Washington D.C. You and Toonchi doing it big.
Yeah.
Lauren, everybody. I've been watching.
Yeah. It was my first time there. It was really impressive. I was
Well,
excited.
I mean, that's a big thing. I mean, going from prison and just starting out small and just being basically essentially to the world, nobody's the bottom of the gutter, but you're at the top of the world. You're in the capital. You're speaking, you're engaging, you're trying to make change, and I'm so proud of y'all. Good job.
Thanks, Lainey. We're proud of you too. We see you with doing work with Truth Be Told, and keeping in touch with a lot of the folks on the inside and trying to make a difference too. We see that.
I'm part
I
of Lioness, but I just never seem to meet up at the right time, and it's just how it is juggling a bunch of stuff at one time. But I do need to get reconnected with y'all and start hitting you up when you're here in the Capitol.
For sure. Lainey, did you have an ankle monitor?
I did when I first got out. I actually have pictures. So I got out on a Friday, and they put it on me at reception, and then I got picked up, and I was told at reception that I could not leave my house. That it was automatically as soon as I got home. I had to be home at a certain time, and I would be on house arrest until I saw my parole officer on Monday. Well, it turned out that it was not even activated. He came, no, she came on Monday and set up the perimeter and everything. And I spent all weekend not even going outside because I was terrified I was going to set off my ankle monitor. But
Your
I have
first
a
weekend. First
yeah, my
weekend home
first
from
weekend.
prison.
God.
Yeah, it was terrible. They kept me on it. I think I was on it for 4 months. That was it. I was so lucky. I see Lisa Stevens was on it like 2 years or 3 years. I was horrified when I saw that. I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, she was on it for a good minute, and hers, because she works kind of well, not kind of, but physical labor, she does a lot of construction jobs. She would like climb up the ladder and the band would pop off. It would get stuck on the ladder several times. Her panicking, calling her PO, my bracelet just or my anklet just broke,
Well,
and
mine
they're
used to go off in the middle of the night. I would be dead asleep and it would go off in the middle of the night and I would freak out. Now, actually, this is how I found out that that I could go in my backyard, even though I was told I couldn't go in the yard and the garage because kept going off in the middle of the night. And I called my PO in the middle of the night because, like, the people that are monitoring, they call and they want to know where you're at. And I'm like, I'm right here. And I sent video and pictures and everything. And it went off like 2 times in the middle of the same night, like 3 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, you know what, screw this. So when they reset it, I figured, well, it's already been going, it went off twice. They're going to figure it's a glitch. So I walked my entire yard to see what the boundaries were. Girl, I could go all the way out to the street and everything. So it gave me, because until then, I just been sitting in the house every day, like not even able to go out on my porch. I couldn't go in the garage. I couldn't do anything. And so it was different then, but I know that's not the same for everybody.
wow. Yeah, our friend, Laura Cummings, that's how she had one day a week that she could go outside that was like her yard day. That that was
And
that
that's
was
what they
it.
called it, your yard time. I'm like,
Mhm.
what in the hell? I'm still in prison.
No, let me
I
tell
hate
you,
those
we
ankle
live in
monitors.
apartments and they have dog park at the apartment. And so when I take my dogs out, like these are my dogs, they're watching the storm. There's my pit bull, Onyx, and there's Luna. Can you see my dogs?
Yes, they're adorable.
And look
They're
at the
watching the
storm.
weather.
It is storming.
Toonchi, is it storming at your house?
It
Yes,
is
honey. I said that
pouring.
earlier. Y'all might lose me, and you were just like, "Oh well."
Oh well, the show must go on.
So when I take them out, every once in a while, I slip up and I'm like, I'm going to take the dogs to the rec yard. And Douglas is like, it's not a rec yard. I was like, yes, it is. It's the rec yard for my puppies. It is the rec yard.
It is the rec yard. I sometimes slip up and call a dinner plate a tray, and I do that. I mean, I've done it at least a handful of times, and Brittany's just like, "Get off the gas! You are not calling that a tray right now." I'm
Well,
pretty
I
sure.
haven't done that, but I have said chow ha.
Yep. Chow hall, chow's ready. Come eat chow. All of that. Girl, look what Toonch has brought back.
What she
Look
got?
this is her what she eats out of. This is her
Oh,
dinner.
that's just like getting the little the brisket the brisket meat.
Yeah.
Remember the little meals that they would have in those black bowls, and we would save them, and then the police would come and search your house and then throw all your bowls away.
These are HEB meals, and so I tried. Okay, I tried to throw them away, but when I got this one that was wider, I told Marci when I was debating on keeping it, I heard her say, "Throw that away," but then I heard Brittany say, "But it's a good bowl. It's a good bowl," and I put it in the cabinet. It's a good microwave bowl.
Is it that good? Is it that good? I want to say that our friend Eric says he does know a 45-year-old lesbian that you might be interested in. but she does not love Taylor Swift.
She
Oh
added
no,
it.
that's a
She
wrap.
added it. That's a wrap.
That's a
Sorry.
wrap. If you don't like Taylor, first of all, if you're a 45-year-old lesbian and you don't like Taylor, you shouldn't even be a lesbian. Second of all, if you're a 45-year-old lesbian that doesn't like Taylor, you're definitely not for Toonch.
No, no.
Are you interested in any Canadian girls?
Well, of course, Canadian girls are hot.
Of course.
Kim, hit me up. I am not bashful or shy.
Audra Lee says she knows a lot of loser middle-aged men.
Well, so do I.
They're everywhere. We don't need help finding them.
Yeah, those are totally a dime a dozen. Mandy already knows. And he's like, oh God, here we go. Yeah, well, if you know any, well, I appreciate you coming on, Lainey. I love talking to you. And
I wanted to say hi and see y'all's beautiful faces and just touch base. I love y'all so much. I miss you. I'm so proud of you. Y'all just keep doing what you're doing. Next time you're down here, hit me up, Marci.
I will. I promise. It'll be soon.
Oh, I can't wait.
I promise.
I cannot wait. I know you're here all the time. I'm busy.
Yeah. Okay. I definitely will. Love you, Lainey. Thanks for dropping.
You know who I hang out with what's today? Today's Wednesday. Every Wednesday, Melissa Austin. Like, we have lunch every Wednesday after she gets done. So with Truth Be Told, I'm fixing to be able to start going into Dale Valley, Travis County Jail, and doing programs there. Like, I'm super stoked. My PO. Okay, so I've gotten reduced to low regular supervision, so I only have to report once every 3 months. And so it's taken like 3 months for me to get permission to get a letter so that I can get up there to the jail and start going in and doing programs for Truth Be Told. So I'm like super stoked. But Melissa, she goes out to Del Valley on Wednesdays. Actually, she goes like 3 days a week. But on Wednesdays, after she gets done, we meet out there at this little Mexican restaurant out by the airport, and we have lunch. So she's
love that.
I know. It's just staying connected and staying in touch with the people who saw us at our worst and they still love us,
Yeah.
Yes. So please tell her hello for us.
I will.
Yeah, I love that.
Have a good night. Love y'all. Be good.
All right.
Love you.
Bye.
Thanks, Lainey.
Bye.
Oh, I cut her off.
What the hell?
I did Lainey like I did you.
God.
Lainey, I'm sorry. Look, she hopped on and started.
You can cut me off. I want to keep watching the stream. I just don't want to be on the video.
Okay.
Bye.
Why did I do that?
Because you're a mean little woman. You're a mean little woman.
I'm how horrible. And my people would none of them think that I'm a mean little woman. First of all.
Don't get that plain bass voice with me. like that BPD coming out. Look, I kind of got scared for a minute. I was like, wait a minute.
What about when you look, I had to stay the night at Toonchi's house last Thursday night. First of all, see that tiny little couch with that Mean Girls blanket on? That's where I sleep with my little legs hanging off the end. No, I sleep curled in a ball. So actually it works perfectly for me. But I slept right there. And so Toonch, that's her bed that you see behind her. She's asleep. I wake up to go to the ladies' room and my water bottle was on the floor. So when I kick my feet off, I knock the water bottle over. Toonch jumps up out of her dead sleep, no hesitation, and says, deep, put the bass in her voice. Hey, what are you doing? And I said, damn. I said, it's Marci. It's okay. I put my hand up even like I was worried she was going to attack me. That's how she came out of that bed. I was impressed. Toonch, I was impressed. And I want to tell you it's the opposite of what I do. Because recently my wife has come into the bedroom in the middle of the night from work and I was in a good deep sleep, and it startled me in a way that I didn't know it was her. And I said, and opened up my arms, and she's like, that's what you're going to do if somebody breaks in? That's how you act if you think a strange. I thought it was a man. You know, my wife has that short hair, and when I saw her in the dark, I saw a strange man in my room. And Brittany's like, if I was, you completely gave me enough time to attack you, and you opened up your body to me like,
God, Marci.
so she's like, you need to work on that. Well, how do you work on instinct?
I don't know. Like when I was living by myself in my apartment in Henderson, and I had a window that I had to like put stuff in a fort to like keep, it was a very, it was the place I could afford. Right. And so I'm laying there on my air mattress with my baseball bat. Thank God I at least put the baseball bat in the closet now, but I had it right next to my air mattress, and my little blinds that were taped together because they were broken, they fell. And so when they fell, it sounded like someone coming through the window. And what you saw me do that night, I rolled and grabbed my bat and said, "Who the fuck is that?" And I was like, and I realized it was just the curtains. And so I started laughing. I mean, I laughed until I was like on my knees with laughter because it was just instant. It was instantaneous.
Yeah.
And it was like that deep. I don't know where that came from.
That's how you did me. And then I go potty and I go back to the couch, and you say, well, my heart's racing 1,000 miles an hour. I'm going to try to go to sleep. I'm like, you do you, boo. I'm going to sleep. Like 2 seconds later, I was back asleep.
Let me tell y'all about Marci. Is that it don't matter if you were just having a full-fledged conversation about childhood trauma, like something that you would be wide awake. You take a 30-second pause or 1 minute, then you hear this light.
I'm asleep.
She sounds asleep, man.
But people don't believe me when I say, okay, I'm going to sleep now. And then they continue to talk. Every roommate I've ever had in prison, everybody I've ever shared a room with sleeping, has thought that I was rude or intentionally. But you don't. When I say I'm going to sleep, within seconds, less than 1 minute, I'm asleep, baby. That means the conversation is over.
Done.
I'm not responding anymore, and not because I'm ignoring you, but because I'm asleep. We didn't mention that Lioness is part of a lawsuit. We are one of the organizational plaintiffs and partners in a lawsuit against Brian Collier in his capacity as the executive director for the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, because they are cooking people alive in Texas prisons, just quite frankly, because of the heat. So Eric, I think, I don't know. They're trying to make sure that they have representation from every unit. So I may get a hold of you if that comes up. We're working on the women's side of things, but I'll let her know if we need representation from any missing units. We'll do that. Yeah. Randolph, good to see you. Thanks for always being here, man. We appreciate you so much. And Eric's laughing at the weather.
It's crazy. It is storming so hard right now. I can't believe I still have good reception like this.
Yeah. Do you remember the last time your power went out in the middle of a podcast?
Yeah, and Melissa was sitting here, and I was in a tank top, half naked, with my hair all over my head. And I said, "Oh my God!"
You were streaming Rosie O'Donnell. Rosie O'Donnell was on the Recyard. Hey, if you guys didn't catch last week's episode, Piper.
Did you hear that?
Wow.
Jesus.
Wow.
Weather freaks me out.
Well, Toonch, this has been fun on the Recyard, but the rec boss saw lightning.
Right. Y'all getting off the damn. Now we got to get off the Recyard, and they're not going to put us in the gym because we don't ever get to use the gym. We don't know what it's for.
No, we don't know what it's for. It's for lockdown. It's for us to go get our stuff searched. Is what the gym at Lane Murray was used for. Any final thoughts, Toonch, except for I do want to tell you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you for liking the live, sharing the live, commenting. You guys have been a blast. Thank you for our guests that have hopped on. Toonch, any final thoughts?
If you haven't listened to the Tortured Poets Department, it is a must. Thank You, Amy is a great clapback song. So that's all.
Kim says throw them trays out when you
Kim,
microwave them. What did I tell you? They're dangerous to keep microwaving. That stuff seeps into your food and gives you weird diseases.
See, now, was Kim the Canadian girl?
Do you
Kim,
think
were you the Canadian girl earlier? See, that's what I need. I need a wife to help me manage my life.
So Kim was thinking you are not moving to Canada. So just for the record, we have too much work to do here in Texas. Congratulations, Linda, on your daughter's parole. Thank you for acknowledging that I absolutely am not mean, folks. I love you all.
Wait till you piss her off. Woo, you're going to rethink that statement.
Okay. We can answer this last question, can we?
Yeah, sure.
Really quick.
It's our podcast, honey. We can do whatever we want.
Over. But my ex is in Gatesville, Texas prison. She is transgender. She has had bottom surgery, but still has a male name and male gender. What will they?
I don't know. If you're saying in Gatesville, do you mean she's at a women's facility or she's at a men's facility? Because Hughes is a men's facility in Gatesville.
Right. And we can tell you what would happen in a women's facility to our transgender population in women's facilities is the incarcerated population does not discriminate, or you're just one of the team. You do get some grief from staff. And you might not get things like the incentive dorm. You might not get those perks that even if your disciplinary history is excellent and everything else fits, you might not get that. Even if you have a haircut like Toonch and you're not transgender, she's in a woman's prison. So that's what she's going to see some disparities, or he, if he's transgender, right, is going to see some disparities from staff and programming, but not in any kind of danger from the population.
Yeah.
So Cheyenne, I see you. We got
Wait.
What?
Peaches. We can't go without saying hello to Peaches and making sure that she knows we love her and see her. And I'm seeing Kim make me and Kim make connections.
Oh my gosh. We're picking up people out of our chat today, Toonch. I feel like we should have some policies against that. But we got to wrap
Peaches, help me, Peaches, help me.
Love y'all so much. We will be back here, same time, same place next week, 7:00 Central Standard Time, Wednesday night. I'm Marci Marie.
I'm the Toonch.
Out with us on the Recyard Women's Prison Podcast with